Okay, I got it working. Hooray. So, we are going to... Don't mind my background. Deal with it. I'm a weird person. Anyways, it is this key. So, this is the file. I've not named it because I'm great for doing that. We're gonna open up some data here. Give this 10 years to load like it normally does. Casual. Is this gonna biff? Oh, it's on my mouse. This is fine. Anyways. Chat's acquired. So we're gonna delete the background. And the most of what we want to do is look for blank layers or something that you can't see what's actually on it, and you can just hover over it. And thanks to Krita, it'll actually show it up in that small window. As you can see, I didn't name any of these. If you are to ever want to just mess with Live2D or do anything of this kind of field, label everything you can. Normally I do, but since this is one for me to mess around and find out, I kinda didn't. So I seem to be good. The next thing, especially if you go from one program like Procreate or something that isn't on your PC, you want to pick a layer and just grab it to make sure the hitbox that you can see here is fitted to the layer you are grabbing, not to the whole screen. Because that's something major that Procreate tends to have an issue with, is these items will actually fit the whole canvas and not just their own little boxes. But here, it's good. Don't mind me hitting the wrong button. Anyways, so this file is good, and what we're going to do instead is we're going to save it as a new file. We're going to put it in... I have too many files. Hang on. Okay, so I don't have a place for this to go yet, but that's fine to throw it in here. I'm actually going to name this, because I made that mistake with two other models I had made previously, where I did not name them, which then can cause issues through Live2D, because it sees two files of the same name. So always, always, always break these into two. So we're gonna make a new folder, and we're gonna name it Trash Model, or Moldy, that's fine too. And we're gonna take the edited file in Krita and drop it. This original file we can delete, no questions asked. So now there's a copy of both. Do not delete your edited model. I've accidentally deleted this on myself multiple times and it has become an issue. So here's our trash model. Ignore the error, I don't know what's causing it. But you want the folder with your model in it, and I tend to leave my tablet one, which is my USB, open regardless, to make sure I can see everything alright. But with that, I don't have it on my hotbar anymore. We are going to boot up Live2D. So that's our next little thing. This is Live2D Cubism. Do not hit this lower one. Always hit the one on top. And for today, we're going to be using the free trial because that's what I care for. We're going to open up to the model art, because you want the art and you can just drop it in. It's going to lag, but it'll get in there. And just like this, we have this little window here. And this window is saying if you want to make it a blend mode, which is to the newer version, the 5.3. I tend to not do that because I enjoy 5.1 better, but that's all objective, that's all what someone wants. Holy list here. So yeah, there's this massive list, which you can see next to me. And my model is covering the layer archive, where you can see deformers, but that's not as important. For this type of model I'm working on, I do not need so many of these. So we're going to remove the smile parameters. We're going to remove brow X for both of them, both angles and forms, because I don't use eyebrow forms. That's the way to make, like, the sad eyebrows or the shocked eyebrows. I tend to not use those because I don't have that expression, but that's pretty much what they are. Cheeks is not needed here either, and nor any of the hair. So you just right click and you can delete it from there, and now we have way less parameters to work with, which looks better. You do want to link the eyeball X and Y now so you don't forget. With that, a lot of these look confusing, and I swear to God, never, if you are making a model, never delete the breathe parameter, because it is so hard to replicate and you can't get it back once you delete it. So do not delete it, save it, never touch it. What we will do, however, is we're going to go to the top, we're going to create a folder, and for me, I'm actually going to make two. One is the physics folder, and the other one is going to be your toggles or emotes. In this one's case, it's all of the head stuff and the arms here. This is a lot. I will say, always set up your parameters and stuff like that first. For toggles, you can create a parameter, name it whatever you want. I'm just gonna name it laugh because that's one of the ones I have. For physics, do not create a parameter. Replicate one of the body angles or head angles and put that inside. And then you can simply hit edit parameter and name it Phys1, Phys2. I normally do only two types of physics, which is shake and sway. I'll show that later. But let's open the folders, which you can see kind of up at the top. Let me make this a bit more visible, because I'm realizing you can't see too much of what I am working on. This screen, I tend to make smaller because it's easier to look at. Okay. Okay, that should do the trick. There we go. Now you can see a bit better. I'm covering up a bit more, but that's besides the point. Above my head, you can see I hit numbers. That's besides the point. Anyway, above my head, you can see all the folders and layers. This is the parts area, while if you hit projects, that shows the actual model you are working on and its creator file. That is not the run file, so if you put that in anything, it just won't do anything. But before we touch anything else, we want to highlight everything on this. And here's the part that's gonna look overwhelming. Trust me, it's not as bad as it seems. We're gonna go up here to this little icon that says auto, and we're just gonna hit standard. This is why it can seem overwhelming. So these are all the little tracer dots for each layer. What I like to do is I'll end up selecting the layers I have for the mouth here, which you can see above my head. These are my mouth layers. And what I like to do for these is I'll actually up these to heavy, which makes their movement a lot better. With that, we're gonna move in and set up these pen parameters, which is simply just place dots along the mouth, make sure important areas have a leading dot. And say, like this one, I'm not happy with its placement, I can just grab it and move it. With that, I put this one too high, so you just move it down. And you can correct these and spend a bit of time figuring that out. But they're really fun to just mess with and get right. and say, oh, I don't know, I'm missing one here. I can just add it and it'll link in place. Or with that, if I right click, I can cut that one. Oh, nope. Good. This specific dot, that's the root piece. I know there's a way, I think it's, yeah, okay. If you select one and then press the delete key, that will remove it so you can fix it how you like. So that's the top lip. You're actually going to hide the top lip and go to the bottom lip. What I'm going to end up doing for the bottom one, since it's different, is I'm going to set up these joints before I even place the dots like I am here, because these add moving bits. So you have a much linear look, so it looks nicer. And that's just the start. So we're gonna bring back the mouth. As you can see up here, I have all of my toggles and whatnot. So we are actually going to make parameters for each one of my toggles. Say, oh, ignore my spelling. Say you put in the wrong spot, you can just grab it and move it to where you like. Oh yes, if you double click, you can also see the values here if you would like to add another pointer. If you would like to remove it, just click on that pointer and hit the dot here to delete the key. This is how people show like better animation and stuff. They will add those as just little bits to control it and everything. It's real simple once you get the hang of it. I'm tempted one day to, because I'm still fighting to get my tablet and PC to work together. For some reason they're at odds and hate me. But I'm not gonna question that. We are just not gonna worry. So for the arm parameters, I have two that are single hands, which is the 81 here, and all the way down here, 80 is also a single placement. So for those two, we're gonna make a hand 1 and hand 2, since they're singular. Then we will make game piece, which is one of the arm toggles I have. Doll, and then wave. I believe that's all the arms I have. Yes, okay. We are about to clutter this so much. So what you want to do for these now, oh, before we do that actually, I do want to highlight all of the head kind of animation stuff, and then we want to highlight all of the pieces of the head. You can do this in bits, you can do it all at once. I tend to like to do it all at once because it's just easier to get it one and done than fighting with it. So we are going to slowly highlight everything of the head, as you can see here. This is everything on the head, and what we are going to click is this in the top corner. And we're gonna name this Head Z. As you can see, now everything of the head is linked on, but look at that. If you ever, with this, you can see everything's grayed out. So, what I like to do is I'll move the head, or whatever I'm working on, completely out of the way and see, oh look, I'm missing a piece right here that's supposed to be in that group. So, I will just bring it up, throw that in the group, and then it'll be like that. Make sure they're still level when you do it though. So you just take the piece, drop it in the head group, and just like that, now it's connected. And it stays on its own plane so it won't clip and there's no major issues. But we do still have an issue. This isn't in the right place, nor is it the right size. So we want to hold Control and bring it down to the chin. Make sure it is kind of in the center of the mouth here. Same with that, hold Control and raise this circle to reach at least your top lip or the under of your first eye. That will give it a better radius of spinning so it's not spinning off somewhere you don't want it. Which works great here. Something I also just realized I can do for you guys is I have something that shows my keyboard, don't I? I do! Perfect. Making this a little easier because I haven't done this in a while. And I believe it's this type of window I would like. Specific window. This makes me realize how much I have open. Is that not the one I want? Is this the one I want? Give me just a moment. I know this is something I can do. Do not capture. Allow transparency. Is it this one? Huh. Okay, well, I think it's because I already have 2 running game captures. Yeah, that's why it's doing that. No worries, it's no big deal. I will just close that up and open Live2D back on screen. No worries, I was gonna show my keyboard. You just gotta trust me. I will set it up, especially next time I'm playing something or doing something, I'll show my keyboard and what I'm doing. But we have the head in its full glory, and I will say, do not attach the back hair to this. You don't want to do that, because the back hair will count this as a parameter and you don't want it to do that. But with this selected, we're gonna hit Angle Z, hit the 3 keys, or the add 3 keys, and we're gonna go to either one, and they are organized, so if you are on the left one, like I am, you will simply grab the little piece here, so your cursor turns into a rotator, and turn the head to the left. You can hit this and hit mirror motion, which you can pick flip horizontal or flip vertical, and give that a moment, and now the head turns perfectly symmetrical, which gives you a save on so much work. But this is still just the start. What we are going to do is select this, and oh, is it here? No. Okay. So I don't need any of these at the moment, because these are going to move very differently when it comes to it. So all of these can start getting their toggle parameters. So at 0, so when it is on the left, you want to turn its opacity to 0. So then when it's clicked to the right, it appears. That's how toggles work. It's very vague and not great when you're first learning, but they're easier once you know what you're doing. But since we need to declutter our area, I don't want it there, I want it down here. Do be careful which one you are clicked on when setting these up, because sometimes you may put them on the same one, so when you're trying to figure out what you did wrong later, you don't realize they're on the same parameter, which can cause greater issues later on. So always check which parameter you are working on. It's rather important to know if you've screwed up or not. But there goes all the heads, and we're gonna remove the hands as well, just to clear up more space since the arms and whatnot will be used later. So these are not mandatory for the moment, which gives me the chance to select all of those pieces and click for the parameter. If all are selected, they'll move just fine on their own without needing any extra assistance. Click down on doll and easily turn it to 0, so it disappears. And something some of you may have noticed, or if not, there are actually 4 pieces to the arm here. You have the shoulder bit, and then the actual arm. So the reason I've done this is because of these hand motions where it's just the forearm. For things like this, I will actually select these pieces and I will make them their own space most of the time, but for the moment, I'm just going to turn them invisible because they're not important at the moment and I can use them later. But with that, you can use this label color, and I'm going to make these green, showing I have not worked with them yet. This is a great way of building understanding of what you're working on, especially when you need to sort stuff. So color coding things, I do heavily recommend. It's really easy and sometimes can actually be really fun. With that, we are going to go to the eyeballs here, which you can see the highlight is its own piece. What we want to do for this is go into the Inspector tab, find the ID of the main body piece, so the stuff like that, for the bigger piece that we're editing. And we're going to go up to that highlight, and in the clipping ID, we're just going to paste it, and now if we move this, it stays right in that main piece. Just repeating that for all of the pieces. It can take a moment, but a trick is, say like this bigger eye, there are 2 highlights. I'm not going to do both manually, I'm actually going to highlight both, so I have both selected, and I can just paste in the copying mesh and both will get that clipping ID. So that makes life a bit easier, especially when you are trying to clip multiple pieces. This is way more useful when working on the mouth or overall head. It is much easier to just make them one and clip them at the same time. Stuff that makes life so much easier. Speaking of face in this case, is we need this bottom lip to clip with this, and this top skin lip here to clip that. And then the overall head needs to clip with that one. So this extra black area here for the markings on a face is now gone, because now it is clipped down. Easy start. Now we get into the worst part. I believe that's all the clipping I need to do. Yes. Oh, one of my parameters is not fully down. That is hand 1 here. Are you not at 0? Wait, no, you're hand 2. This is why we want to check these things, because you see, my opacity is not all the way down. We want it to be so it completely vanishes. Easy, easy. the back hair here is a piece that I normally manually work with. There is a way to mark it and like make it move on its own. I don't personally like the look of that. I tend to save that for tails or waving jewelry sometimes because it just makes life easier. But now that we are all clipped and we're all ready, we are going to pick up everything on the head besides the toggles and quote-unquote emotes, because they are not necessary for what we are about to do. So this is everything on the head, and we're going to click this like warpy thing at the top here and make a deformer called head Y X. So we have everything in the head, and as you can see, I forgot the same piece again. Though I don't actually believe I need this piece because they need to be separate. So we'll leave it at that. We'll leave them separate. I'll show why later, but I tend to do full 5s across all the charts on the numbering here. I wish I had a bigger mouse for this, but that's where I leave it. And what we will be doing is going down to the angle X and the angle Y here. Before we do this, we are going to save, and running to the desktop, we want to find our folder where our art sits, which then we can save in there, and now every time you save, it will go straight in this folder, so you don't have to worry about it saving anywhere and you can't find it. The creator file will always save in here. And now that I think about it, in this folder, we want to make another folder, and I tend to name these finished and then whatever model I'm working on, because that is where we'll put the runtime file. We're almost there. You can see up top here, something I probably shouldn't be doing because it's hitting my emotes, but you can see different editing modes. I tend to use 3 because it's what I'm comfortable with. I tend to also use 2 sometimes to see the pointers a little better. So we'll use 3, and we want this little pen doodad. I wasn't ready for it to do that. Anyways, it's very small. There we go. So this pen can grab on points and move them around as it pleases. Simple stuff. So what we're doing is the basic angles. We're not doing anything overcomplicated, especially for this model. So something I don't remember is actually how this works. So ever get lost, ever get confused, we're gonna go into, this is something I will also have, that this will end up on my Ko-fi once I set it up. I'll also send out one of these files on Patreon, which will be a creator basic model. It might even be this one in the end. What I do is I tend to open another one of my models to get reference. This one's not as good, but it gives me reference of which angle it's supposed to go, if that makes sense. So, say we're working on X first. That means it is this way, and we are going to mirror that perfectly. Yes, this looks janky. We are just setting up movement. This doesn't need to look good. It's funnier when you tilt the head. Yes, we are just setting up basic where it's supposed to be. For the Y, it is much more confusing. So, for Y, a positive number, or to your right, is up, while the negative number, or to your left, is down. Which gives us this funky movement which you can notice it gets buggered here. So what we want to do is hit synthesize corners and make sure both parameters we're currently working on, X and Y, are selected. And just like that, when I go, oh, I want to look down, now it will move to the side. Even when you're looking up, it will move just fine, so it saves you hours of work that I see a lot of people do. Just use what it gives you. With that, however, we have basic movement. Now we're gonna tween it to make it look good. As you can see, the parameters are 1 here, which we don't want. We want them both to be 5. Which, in our case, I need to actually move my camera up. Every dot is important here. Every dot controls such a large amount of space. So what we're going to do is slowly lower all of these to make a nice curve to show some bending in the horns here, which shows it moving back, if that makes sense. Moving these ones up also helps sell this illusion, because now when it looks down, the horns feel like they're bending back. We're going to do the same thing with the face here. We are just going to move up very slightly, being so careful of our other parameters or little dots to make sure they don't get damaged. And then when she looks up, there's a bit more of a bend. What I like to do to get more of the face under here is I will find which one moves the jaw, like this one does. And I will tilt it up as much as I can get away with, which gives a better up to base. So we're going to make sure the same thing happens, but down. We are going to actually stretch these higher and bring their main bodies inwards, so the horns look more elongated. This would also work, say, the hair or halo. That's the same thing you would do. And we're going to do the same with the face as we had done before, pulling it down, which gives us this nice smooshed look, which feels more like they're looking down. But for the bottom corners, we're going to pull them up again, which gives the squish of the chest. Something to make your up a little better, especially if you do this for the chin, is pull these bottom ones down so the hair looks not very affected. In the lower case, I am actually going to squish these up and pull these central ones down a bit, which curves this bit here, which gives a bit more of a squish. And for a bigger effect, I don't tend to do this because it's unrealistic. Hello, Halo! Is I will actually, probably from the bottom, squish the actual head, and then for the top, I will squish and pull it back down a bit, so it looks a bit better when you're looking around. This model doesn't have a neck. That is on purpose, I swear. But also with that, we are going to be careful and scoop the head down and up to show greater movement. I will say now, if you hear my neighbors, I'm sorry. They're currently blasting music. I get the liberty of them possibly ending up on stream. This is gonna be entertaining. Anyways, we're gonna do these side to side, which the ears look weird. We will fix those later. But for a current moment, this looks weird. It looks funky. What we want to do is keep these ones in line, but move these ones closer, so the head looks like it's more squished, and then we are going to pull these ones inwards and take this one back out, which adds that little buff of the head, as these ones are the controllers of the chin area. We want to push these ones at a diagonal to give it a little bit more push inwards, while the one to the outside can either stay put or be pushed in to give a greater look here. It looks flat for now. We're going to be fixing that. Don't you fret. For horns and stuff like this on the head, move these way more, so it gives them a bit more of a curve. For my personal model, I believe I can mirror this. Yes. So this isn't possible with everyone's, but for a lot of models you can just mirror these. But you'll see now the corners don't work, so all we have to do is hit synthesize corners again, and as you look up, it'll add all of the movement together. Always check these, because you will see, like this, there are mistakes, there are screw-ups. You can always just come in and fix those real quick. Give your model, or whatever you are working on, a little bit better of movement. And just like that. I wouldn't suggest linking these, but if you would like to, you can, just to see what your movement looks like. I tend to not, so I can move them separately. But that is basic head movements down. Simple, right? Well, it's time for the hard part. I do not have any of the eyeball movements that you can see here, so technically I do not need these parameters. I'm going to be using them for something else on the model, which consists of the arm movements and other stuff. So I still want it tracked, but it's not actually going to do anything on the model. With that, the little shines in the eyes will be applied with physics. We don't even have to worry about those. But what we do need to do is when the head says turns up and down, it looks fine, to a point. It looks very 2D, but that's something we can adjust over time. For this, it looks wrong. So in my case, I would actually go in with the brush and correct the ears myself. Whereas this one can just be tucked away. And I tend to do this for both ears, so both appear correct and can move about and just be what a normal ear is supposed to be. That said, it is best to do this with more progress and understanding of what you're doing, as stuff like earrings will just shoot off and not fall off. Which then gives the effect that it's swaying. It looks very flat. This is a solid colored piece, so a lot of things are going to look flat. In the case of the earring though, I can actually just, not with that big of a brush, we're gonna go 150, yeah. And you can just take a spot and nudge it in while pushing the rest out, which gives a better look. Like the movement isn't so strained or flat. You can even see here there's a bit of an issue, so we're actually just gonna squish it. And that little clipping or snag that was in it is gone. So now we have to do it with the light bulb. Something I'm going to do actually is turn off the hair so I can see what I'm doing. Because there is also this lightning bolt earring that I need to worry about. So we're going to put it in place. And for this case, it should actually tuck farther behind the ear than you think it should. So looking at her very bald, so ears will move much more naturally. If we return the hair in place, we get this look. You can see this one earring doesn't show up very much, and there's a reason for that I'll fix later. But we have all the head movements. And something we are going to do is this back piece that I did not add earlier, we're going to work with now. For the side to side, it's doing its job. It's in place and looks good on both sides. However, the up and down is a different story. Because when it goes like this, it should be a little different. While at the top, there's too much. So we're going to affect the Y angle. We are going to rough it up just to get some simple parameter fixes for that. We can also add this to the back hair, but that is not one of my concerns. Now that we have head movements, which are real nice and easy, I think it is time we do some body movements. So we want to... I apparently got all the ducks in the game. Anyways, that scared me. This is the main body. For, in our case, I don't want a up and down, but I will keep the parameter for physics. What we're going to do is more of the Z and the X. And always before you edit heavy parameters like this, save. I cannot tell you how many times I've worked on a model and then accidentally completely deleted the entire thing. And cried. So, be careful. Move as necessary. So what we are going to do now is this lovely little lasso I actually used for selecting bits of a model, which then, when you pull out the snazzy dazzy brush, you cannot affect these lower ones when you have this selected, which allows you to give movement without issue. With that, I need a bigger brush, which you can also use this to highlight areas you want to use. I'm not too worried. The only thing I believe I am worried about is not getting this right. That should do the trick. Which then, what I want to do is connect this to the head while keeping the body lower. And then moving the shirt so it looks like there is actual movement, which I can actually show. Before testing physics or anything, you want to hit this and find where it says settings for blinking and lip syncing. I tend to not actually use lip syncing since I have Live2D running on its own even when I'm doing this, so the most we want is both of the opening eye parameters and the mouth open. Then we can hit modeling, physics settings, and like that you can see how much movement you're actually getting just with them looking around. You can see with me moving that side, it bends better and connects to the head, while this side doesn't. So, what we are going to do is just simply hit, and we're going to... Hello, I would like to mirror. There we go. So now it turns the same on both sides. So when we run in here again, we have that. Easy so far? Cool, it's about to get 10 times worse. This is something I do not suggest doing. I do not recommend this. This is me being an idiot. We're gonna make this a floppy noodle. So what we want for the X is to move at least the majority of the top half of the body to the side. We're gonna crane this lady. And then on the head Z, we're going to correct the head to the body, so when it moves, and that is also selected, it will move with it. It is a bit, but it's doable. I'm gonna need a real big brush for this. Yeah. To do this correct, you want to slowly move them, like the whole layer, bit by bit. Never try and move it from the center, because that will never go well. It never does. So we are gonna hit mirror. And this is gonna look really weird in the physics testing. So you have the basic movement, but when you try the, which I do not have on, where is it? Here we are. So this is how you like control how everything works. What I want to do is set angle Z to my left mouse, or my right mouse, and we're gonna do the same with the body. Once we set OK, now it will sway and do its thing. So now if I hold both, it will sway and wobble as necessary. So we have two extremes. We are gonna go up to the head, which only has one parameter. We're gonna set for a new parameter. And all we need to do is take this little dot and move it to the body. That's it! There are some bits that seem very difficult when really they're not. You can also mirror this. Since I had mirrored the other part, they should be identical, which moves them perfectly. This looks so goofy, but this is the effect we get. Which you can see it doesn't work when you turn side to side, and here is why. When this parameter's here, this one's not. So all we need to do is just correct, or you can just manually do this by hitting on the thing, but I tend to do it like this because it is much easier on myself knowing exactly where I am placing this, because there's so many extra factors to what we're working with. With that, we go right into physics testing, and there we go. She wobbles. So that's how easy simple Z movement is, while this one is a bit more tedious. And this is very funny, and just the start. Now you can see for most of the normal movements, the arms don't really need to move, while for the Z, they need to. So that's what we'll do. Both of the arms are their own pieces, so what we will do is just hit body Z, and when it moves, we are just going to casually bloop, place it, and repeat to the other side. Easy. Just gonna do this with both arms. For this one, I'm actually going to blend it in less. Oh no, that looks wrong. There we are. So now the arms move with it, and we can have this fun wiggling that there is another problem. See? Since we have these moving on different chords, the body does not have a parameter for this. And if I say I try to add one, it's not gonna let me, because I'm already at the limit. So we're gonna save, and we're gonna make a body parameter that I'm straight up just gonna name body X, which helps me know that it is literally just this. But something I will do is I will actually add all the pieces of the arms, even the forearms that are currently invisible. This makes life easier. So let's see, where's the issue? Z works, but the moment you add another rotation, it doesn't. So the arms work, but the body doesn't. That means, looking in this, you can see behind me, which you can't, but I'm actually going to select the arms in this parameter and pull them out. So now when I click on this again, it is just the torso, because that's what's not working. So you're going to see these don't match, meaning I need to add there it is. So body X is our issue. All you need is a few rummaging and you'll see here's the issue. So we're gonna add parameters on that and on head Z. Or should I do, no, okay, we'll add parameters on body Z and body X. With this, all we need to do is take this, take our funny little pen, and shift it over ever so carefully. And we're gonna move to the other side before moving body X again, because that is the parameter that isn't working. So now we'll use body X and redo the movement we just did, so it is on all planes. So we flip to the other side, start turning it in. And now we can test again. It's a lot of trial and error, but as you can see, now the only issue is the head goes too high. So, easy fix. We just take the head and move it down. Which makes life a lot easier. And that should do it. So we have our normal movement and then our normal Z, but putting them together, now they work. So it's a lot of finding the medium that everything's okay with. This. So the hair is a few different ways of annoying. What I'm gonna end up doing is putting these dots in it, where I will have both strands connect to the top, and this is a ponytail that I'm working with. Is it really not happy with me doing it that way? Okay, fine. We'll go the long way. So I don't need to actually add in any of these. I just need to follow up to the top and then bend these right back down. Into there. With this, you can either hit modeling and hit skinning. Personally, I don't like the skinning route. It is easier, but it takes more parameters as it has a base amount of, I believe, 10 parameters. So instead, I'm going to click body Z and move the hair into place that way. Make sure it's where I want it. And then it will follow super easily, and we still have space for physics. That simple. One thing I will do is actually move this more in on both sides, so it's more like it is behind her. So we get more... Oop, it went too far. It's because it's not in enough? Okay, we'll try moving it more in, I guess. Trial and error. That was the error. So now it works just fine for both. Easy. Very good. I would add a Y, but I don't actually mind its placement on both. With that, we have full body movement. Isn't that great? Something I will add, because I don't do a lot with the earrings, is I'm actually going to tilt these outwards and inwards with the body movement. Which you can see does not affect the turning in any way because they don't have synthesized corners. That's a hard word. It's a big word for Elmo. Anyways, you can see I am going outside of the base canvas that she was originally on. That is 100% okay. If you lean right out of the canvas, it still works like nothing changed. It is all just preference and comfort with what you are willing to move. My throat is so dry. Now with just the Z and other movement, you can see the earrings move very subtly, while when there's other motions in place, it doesn't move. We're gonna do blinking now. I will show on a model with full-on eyes, there's a lot more to do, and there's a lot more with the blinking that you have to worry about. But with this little goober, we just need to pop out the eye bits, the eye giblets. Make sure the way you are looking at the model is the eye that is supposed to be opening or closing. When it is at 0, the eye should be closed. When it is at 1, it is open, because it has a reading of your pupil. It's a lot of scientific shit. It's no big deal. It's more just if you want to have better control over the modeling. Oof, that looks bad. So, now that I've tested that, what we will do is pick only the eyes, not the highlights, and we are actually going to turn these to heavy as well. So now when I go down to this and go to close it, it looks a lot smoother and a lot better. Just one big squish. That's how easy it is for these types of models, which is why I always suggest don't go all out on eyes for your first model. I made that mistake, and I hate myself for it to this day. Just don't do it. It's taken me quite a while to get to making models without needing a video or something in the background telling me what to do. I'm happy now to not need that, but not everyone can do that. So I'd always suggest have a tutorial, maybe not mine because I'm not 100% well versed in this, but having a tutorial in the corner, just something simple, is a great way of teaching yourself that that's how simple it is. So you're gonna get on the other eyes, and make sure you change parameters. Is actually something very common in my models. Not many people notice because you can't see how I'm blinking, but a lot of my models only have one eye open and closed parameter. So I can't wink on like any of my models. Only specific ones let me wink because those are the ones I didn't tamper with to make them one eye. So, fun fact, I guess. I screw up my own models because it's easier. But I want to be able to wink with this one because the funnies. And just like that, there is both eyes. These have much better parameters, so we're just gonna hit into modeling. And what I turned on earlier makes it blink on its own, showing you that the blinking does work. It's nice and simple. I'm actually tempted to see... I do have enough space. So I will actually add eye physics on this one, since I have not... No, okay, I can. But normally I would. I may add it another time, but we're gonna save. And we may just add eye physics to other stuff. That's no worries. We have a bigger problem to handle, and that's the mouth. It's time for the part I hate. So, in the mouth's case, it does not look good when you do this. I hope you see where I'm going with this. We are going to select everything in the mouth, make a parameter, or a deformer, as it's called here, and we're gonna name it mouth X. So now as we turn the face, we can actually adjust this, where we just push in what we don't want and pull out the mouth so it looks more like it is 3D. You may see I just screwed up. Oh no, what do we do here? Simple. Just hit Z till it looks completely normal, as much as it can be. You don't want to go that far back. But if that ever happens, just hit Z. It's gonna help out in the end. So, fixing our mistake, or my mistake, we are going to set up the mouth, but you can see the mouth is symmetrical. So, we can just hit mirror, and just like that, both sides of the mouth is good, and when we actually look at it all together, it looks better. The only thing to do now is actually to shift the mouth forward. So it gets closer whichever way you are facing. I will always check this twice to make sure it goes correct. I tend to also add this deformer for the eyes, which we still might do. I'll think about it. Because it would look a lot better. We might do that. But now comes the more fun part. We want 2 on the mouth open and 3 on the mouth forms. For the one to your left, that is naturally done as the frown. Your character will look more dissatisfied and not too happy, which helps for lower mouth movements, which I tend to have, and it's also the reason a lot of my models will actually have smiles on their basic showing. But just like that, super simple. And then the far right is your big, pretty smile. For this one, however, I'm going completely unhinged. Because why would I be sane about that? can see that this is not moving. So we're actually gonna go on its layer, gonna drop our brush size a bit, and we're just gonna scrunch it so it fits inside the lip here. Always make sure your lip skin is in your lip line. The fact that's an actual sentence hurts me in a way, and I don't know why. Anyways, that is the basic forms for the top of the mouth. I don't tend to change them too much for the bottom, but we're actually going to highlight the bottom, hit up on that, and we're going to hit the mouth open. So what I need to do is bring this down, make sure the mouth lines stay connected. And you can see she got a bit of an extra chin here. So all we need to do is just push up. Nice and easy, and it's out of the way. So that is basic talking. For the frown, we are actually going to push this inwards and get more of a curve of the mouth here. Which gives us more of that frown look, and for the smile, we're just going to pull this down and give more of a happier look. And just like that, make sure your lip skin is in your lip line. You never want it to be inside of the actual mouth or outside of your lines, because then it looks bad. This is straight up just classes in session. But now we have unhappy, neutral, and super happy, where it is time to make the bigger mouths. So we're going to start on this one, and we need to do the big, happy, open mouth. So for this one, we're actually going to drop this way lower. And for the unhappy, we're going to drop it and bring this up, and bring these inwards, giving that nice W look for the bottom lip. Then you go in and correct the skin. It is best to make sure these are 2 layers, because sometimes you can get clipping or weird stretching if they're all on the same layer, which can look really bad at times. Doesn't always, but I've had enough holes in the jaws of my models to know 2 separate lines is the way to go. So there is that, and we have the closed version. Now we can do this. Now I actually find I did not do much for the mouth parameter here, so what we're going to do is actually bend the bottom down a bit more to add a bit more of that hole to the lower bit. We're just going to softly push that in, which then matches these mouths better. The neutral is fine, and the unhappy is good too. Now, it's top lip time. We are doing unhappy, so we're going to squish this in and make the unhappy open mouth a lot sadder than the closed one. It's gonna look hella scuffed for a minute, so do not mind. There we go. And now smile. We're going to bring this up, more touching the eyes. And something I'm actually gonna do is make this bigger, so we get more of that smile. Which then we go in with the brush, push it into the lines, and then we just do the same with the top lip. You may see these bits here. That's because the actual mouthpiece is not big enough. So we're just gonna make it like that. We're gonna unlink these for a moment so I can put in the last parameters. And all we're gonna do is pull it since it's just a piece of white. For most of the other mouths, it sits just fine. It is just the happy one needs a bit more of a shining grin. We are actually going to pull in the top a bit. The top lip is good there, and for here it needs to come down and connect with the lip better, giving a much smoother look. God, that is the most horrifying smile I think I've ever made on a model. Anyways, you can see all the other movements, and then mouth open and the mouth forms. That is the most monstrous smile, which you can see does its job. We will actually, because B slowly cycles, and you can see the mouth works just fine, moving and being balanced. So, our creepy mouth is done. And just to make sure, it works on both planes. So I can turn my head, and everything will still work. That's how easy it is. It's not that easy, but it takes learning. You may see we still have nothing for the eyeball. Don't worry about it. It's something to be dealt with later. Though, with that done, I might as well say it's time to fix up some toggles and start doing physics. So here's where the bigger pieces come in. These arms, which I will actually show in here, do not move. So this is where hand fixing them comes in. We're going to open up all of the arm bits, and here are those said waving arms. For these, they need to move slightly separate. You can see they're not going to move well here either. We don't need Y, but we do need a Z. So working with just this arm, we're actually going to have it hang out, because with it, this will become transparent. I need to keep the arms mostly in their correct positions to make sure they don't get screwed up in translation. So a little sway, and there's those arms. So something we're actually gonna fix . What? I'm gonna save, because I'm about to do something that you should not do. Do not do this. I'm still practicing with arm toggles. I have not done them before. Most of my models have a solid chest and arms. So we're gonna test something. Because I have a few different parameters these need to abide by. And that is 5, when you can only have 2. So we will do the wave and the game piece. We'll make those visible. Then they disappear, and on the wave, they'll become visible. While the actual arms only have 1 parameter. This is gonna be very confusing how I'm gonna do this, and do not do it this way, never do it this way. I'm being an idiot. Okay, so we'll just practice with the wave. When these are toggled, we want this to disappear. Easy. The thing you may notice is, where's this piece? Hidden. But now comes the next issue. It does not. Let me fix this. I didn't know it was gonna do that. Anyways. They don't have the space for another parameter. Okay. Having Mania play in my headphones, or for you guys as well, is entertaining, to say the least. Okay. We're going to just set up the arms. They're so out of place. And this is why we do this. We play, we mess around, and we see where our mistakes lead us. Because I would not be doing any of this if I hadn't just decided out on a whim I was gonna make a really, really garbage model. So, when we bring up the arms and we wave, they move. But with everything else, they don't. So we get this effect. Something I keep wanting to do. I can't seem... Okay, let me save. Because that sounds like a great idea before I destroy something I shouldn't. There should be a way for me to add a animation. Oh, wow. There's a lot for the help button. I've never clicked the help button before. Hey, look at that! Tutorial video. It's probably not in English, I'll give that as a warning. Oh yeah, you have to do them separate. Okay, so I'm not gonna worry about animations. But there is one set of arms that can transition upwards. So, it makes me curious. This is 2 more pieces. But if I just, you know, make my life a living hell. Let's try the game piece. Oh, I don't want to breathe. Oh, before I do that. And they're invisible here. Yes. But then I can't. We're gonna see if this screws this up. This shouldn't screw up any movements. Oh wait, no, keep that now. We're learning today. Okay, game piece at full. Disappear. And then I'll do the same for the okay, that goes invisible there as well, so we'll see how well that works. And then these need to clip here. This is becoming very interesting. these arms aren't as free of movement since these ones are holding something. Actually need to bend in the arms here. I'm slowly growing more and more quiet. I do apologize for that. I am very puzzled trying to figure out what the hell I'm doing. Okay. So what I want to do is move the entire console bit this way so you can see it a little better. With that, then the arm can sit more like that. And I can have the little handle here pull towards the hand that's holding it. Whew. I'm hoping I don't lose my voice from this. But we'll see. Oops. Pull more of the center. Release the bottom. Tilt more towards the guiding hand. Do not click that. No, go back. Which should just line up perfectly fine. Absolutely. Then it's just this arm, which is gonna have less of a grip on it for this angle. Oh yeah. Then they fix it for the normal, which will have it like that. And just like that, as we had tested the arms waving, we now get to test the game piece, which moves nice and simple. You can see it gets pulled when it's moved. Nice and simple. Away with the game arms. There is a chance I will actually remove a toggle I have, and I think it will be the pointing arm here. So we'll actually just get rid of that one and destroy its parameter, aka delete it. I'm not sure. Did I do this one? I did. Okay. You don't work. This is very confusing. And I'm going to color label these. All separate colors. So I know which ones link to where. So for this one, which I do have selected, we just remove the parameters that were already there, and we add new ones for the doll. Oh! Oops. I don't copy it. I need another one of these. Yep, forgetting arms, having a fun moment. Anyways, we're going to add here and make it visible. There we go. Now both of these are linked to the doll, which now we can add Z. And for this one, again, it's a bit different. Each time it's going to be different for the arms. This is something I will probably do more research on, so don't follow this. If you want to make an arm toggle, don't do this. Just don't. My teachings are not of the great scriptures. I'm bullshitting this. Oh, is that the first swear of the stream? I don't know. Ooh, it is already 10. not making great movement, apparently. This one I get a little more leeway with the kind of elbows, because they have to conform to the ones to the arms, because they cannot really move when holding the doll. One thing I will do is funny little doll is gonna react to being tilted. Because all of these are their own little piece. Which then... Ooh, little doll did not have those parameters. Hang on. Let's not screw up said doll. Throw that there. Add the parameter. Yeesh, that could have been bad. Anyways, there's tilt 1. Now we're gonna tilt to the other side. Grab up all the bits again. Small realization, does that mean... This is an issue. I did not add the parameter there. That is completely my fault. Whoops. That's an easy lineup. That's fine. Oh, now you're... I'll deal with that in a moment. We're gonna do this side. So it is this arm that needs to be tucked inwards. And then we're gonna go up and adjust the arms. And legs again. And now for the grievance of I didn't set the parameters. So we will grab the main piece. Put that in place. To where I would like it, right about there. Then we grab the arms. And the legs. Put them all back in place, and then grab these. Nice and simple. So that should be the doll done. Perfect. And it moves just fine. We're learning today. I've not done this before, so I think I should probably stop at that, although this hand is very funny. I don't have the space or parameters. Since we're using the free version, or I am, there is a limit of 2 parameters per piece. Like, actual, like, piece of it. And I'm saving my free trial for my full model. So, we're just not gonna have that arm. Oops. Anyways, best part about these is it already moves since they're attached to the head. So these are my favorite little things. With that, I want to make this one bigger. Because it is too small for my liking. Anyways. Oh, I didn't even realize it does that. Well, that's kind of cool. Anyways. I'm losing it. Is that all of that? Yep. It's physics time! The only downside I'm seeing is the arm toggles will not be able to have physics because they have the X or the Z body, which is disappointing, but that's what you get when you work on a limited system like I am, because I really apparently don't like myself. Anyway, we're going to click on all of the lapping bits. We're going to go into Physics 1 and make 3 spots. The first one, we're going to squish. The second one, we are going to pull. And now we are going to separate them. By making the outer ones on the squish version, a little squish bit, larger. And then on the bigger bit here, the middle piece here is the one that will become larger and actually move outwards, which gives us this effect. And I will actually sway these ones more outwards to make it look a bit better. So there, so we get this effect, which is better than what I currently have. And it is physics time. God, this model is so janky. Oh, I didn't even add breathe yet. Okay. I'll worry about that in a minute, because that'll be with all the hair. Anyways, this is where we walk like we want to hit add here. I'm gonna name this. What am I working on? So this will be shake. We want first, and we want 10 divided. It will give us this, and then we can just select all of these and get rid of them, because we only need 2. If you want better depth and swaying, you can use 3 for the dividers. I like 2. It's easier. But the input will be all of these, and this is where the eyeballs become important, because they are what's also going to help a lot of the emotes and other stuff move, which gives a much better look with that. How much can I put in each column then? We'll try 10 in each. If I run out of 10s, it's fine. What? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. And I want a 20 in the X. No, in the head. In the head. And then I want a 20 here. So you can see there's still no output. That's because I need to pick Physics 1 as the output. And we are going to set the scaling here to, I'll put it at 30 for a start. So now, you can see that little line is not moving very much. That's because it's too heavy. So we're going to shorten the duration. We're going to shorten the contingents on the top. Keep the bottom heavy. And I'm going to turn up the shake as much as I can. So now we get this. The only thing is I'm going to make the contingents a little lighter there, and the reaction way more violent. Yeah. There's a hard balance to find, but there we go. So as you move as the model, then this will keep moving. Even when you sway side to side, it counts that as movement. So that's how we get the shake effect. This will be mostly used for the emotes, because it is easier to work with. So, we shrink, we shake, we spray. We shrink, we tilt, we spray. And then the biggest one is actually going to become larger in this case, and tilt inwards. While for the next one, it is going to tilt outwards and shrink, because the other two around it are going to become bigger. Become bigger, and we tilt. More subtly, at least. Become bigger, and we tilt. That is how simple the physics can be, because it reacts with so much movement if done right. You can see it's not giving a lot when I go side to side, but with all other movements, it's going crazy, which works great. On to our next one, which is the music, which is over here. For this one, we want to heavy tilt and shrink, and then heavy tilt and grow. This one's a lot simpler because I don't need anything huge for a music note. Nice and easy. We're almost there. Almost done with the emoticons, kind of. For this kind of effect, for this item, what I would like to do is not that. This two-line tool allows you to make one of these yourself, which now is linked to this piece. Which now I can make the physics sway it as I like, and then on the actual piece with the physics, I can squish. Oh wait, this side's supposed to be the squish. And then this side is the stretch. So just showing the one piece to show what I've done. It gets this effect. So it has a pinpoint where it does not move, and it just swivels. I will be doing this for both of these pieces. This is also what I tend to do for my teardrop pieces. The little sweat drop that I have. Tends to get this so it stays put. Sometimes I ship them, sometimes I don't. It's really whatever I feel like doing. And that's the best part. It's whatever you want. Which gives you that effect. Move that away, bring up the exclamation point. This one is going to get normal parameters because I'm lazy. This one also just shouldn't have too much movement. Always check after you do it to make sure you're happy with it though. I find some people won't and then they're unhappy with the movement, so check. And just as I said, it's tier time. With this piece selected, we're going to pull one of our little droplets in, set up the parameter, and this one actually gets a bit more of a sway than the warning ones do. Because this one I like to have way more exaggerated. So then we click on the sweat. You get some movement there, and sways like crazy this way. The small's gonna be a nightmare to actually, like, shove in with Live2D. Or, not Live2D, we're in Live2D. It's gonna be annoying to put in VTube Studios. And I already know it. I'm not ready for that, but you know what? It's the price I pay for wanting to be 100% my own creations. That one's nice and simple, I like that. The ellipsis, I do not actually like the physics I had done on the current model I'm using, who has way too many things on. So, in this one's case, we're gonna make it way more subtle. So it's not as much movement, but it still moves. Giving a nice little wobble so it stays in place. That is all of those pieces. Done. So, let me pop out these. Yes, so the earrings already have 2 parameters as much as I could make a deformer. I'm not too worried about the earrings. They're pretty hidden anyways thanks to the large ears, so movement for them isn't major for me. However, these don't have any parameters. So we're gonna hit up on some physics. And we're going to stretch and squish. And then for the shake, we need a much bigger pen. We are going to actually push it outwards. And then inwards. Then we want to add, we're going to type in sway, and we're going to have the same inputs as before. For sway, I use 3, because then I can make the duration of the top 2 much shorter and leave the bottom one the longest. So we need all of the head angles. We do not want the eyeball angles for sway, because this is going to be hair, it's going to be the back hair, and it's going to have some effects on the horns to get a little bit movement showing with that, because it'll move with the hair. We do, however, want all body movements. And then we want it to come out on physics 2, and we're going to make this 25, because we don't want it as reactive. So with a simple start, we have this, which has not enough shake. So we're gonna fiddle around, and there's way more shake in it. But we want to make the bottom heavier, which is the continuous here. So it'll sway like crazy, but then the bottom slowly builds its weight and it slows down, which gives us this nice reaction. For this one, we're going to start with 10s again, just to distribute all of the points, because in total you get 100 points for this area. I have 6 pieces here, so one of them has to stay as a 10, but the rest can become 20s. So in our case, I will be leaving the body X as a 10. So now there's a bit more reaction when I turn the head or when it sways. So time to do that to everything else. So stretch, swoosh, sway outwards, sway inwards. I'm actually going to correct it on this side a bit so it curves in a bit more like I did on this other one. So now there's a bit more movement there. And it moves just fine. Alright, we add stretch, squish, outwards a bit, mostly just with this bit here, and inwards, which I will actually pull down a bunch to get a more fuller effect. That gives us this. The fact this little dinky model is going to have more physics than some of my greater models. Enjoy that fact. I don't tend to put this much effort into hair or anything on a lot of my models. What am I doing? That's why this is here. Anyways, yeah, I tend to not really do this because I don't like doing it. Like, actually rigging it is a nightmare because it takes everything by hand. And it's just tedious a lot of the time, but in the case here, I am more alright doing it. This model is not gonna take me very long. As you can see, it doesn't take me long to make like cheap models like this because they're super easy. That's what makes them simple and fun. It's that little bit of you can mess around. I very much like it. I'm not 60. Oh jeez. I know how to type, I swear. Alright, and we add the other one. Nice. I just realized I never did the eyebrows, so we're going to do that now. I'm looking at the right eyebrow. It's nice and simple. It's the same as the head. So this is down. This is up. I tend to not actually do the eyebrows because they're too thin or covered, or there's only one on my normal models. So I don't tend to think about eyebrows. Okay, there's eyebrows now. I'm not gonna question it. Okay, we're going to save before I do anything stupid. There's a body X. Is it only X? No. It also has some of Z. Yeah. Okay, that's no big deal. The ears only have one, though. The earrings have two. So maybe I shouldn't touch that. Then the dots won't align. Something I can do, however, is something fun with the little markings she has. Let me go find the rest of them. Need all of these to be on one plane so they all move correctly. So now with a little movement, it wiggles too. That's something that will be on the actual finished model. She'll have some swaying movements. Hopefully. But, taking one last quick gander, I think the last thing's the eye highlights, and we are good to play the game of Is She Exportable? Save up. And this is going to have both physics. For the sway, it's going to become bigger and smaller. For this one, it is going to move around. Actually, I'm going to switch those movements. It's this way, and then it goes further up that way. Just to check, and the singular highlight, that looks good. This is how stupid this can be. Highlights. Did it wrong here as well. Goes this way. Goes this way. Goes this way. And then goes this way. Okay. I'm devolving very fast. We'll move on to videos probably with this model, just to have fun with her. Because she is for the shenaniganery. And she will mostly be shown when I'm just messing around, doing dumb things, or just letting the others chat in voice calls, so I'm less of a moving nuisance. Yeah, I move like a psychopath with this model. That's fine. It's totally fine. We're gonna ignore that fact. Anyways. Oh, I'm actually gonna drop this down. And then spin it right there. Yeah, that looks a bit better. That is one half of the highlights done. Why do I still have both selected? Okay, I guess I'm doing the tiny one first. Moving it around. And then bigger, smaller. Do that with the other highlight as well, because I didn't do that. Perfect. Slowly going quiet, but in a moment, once we get this lady working in studio, we will go watch some videos. There may be a chance we end up looking at, I don't know. I'll have to go up with a few ideas, because I'm not 100% sure of what to, like, watch. Awesome. don't just have the blinking parameter, right? Oh, it does. Okay, we're gonna have fun. One more thing. Since these all abide to one parameter, I can add a little shake to them. That makes them look a little more alive. Just a little extra movement goes a really long way, especially in a model. Since I don't have all those funky, cool details that I can shift and move, this is just what I get to do. And now her eyes do a little wiggle. Nice. And all the way at the end, I didn't use the breathe. Normally I tend to have a breathing module so it looks good and you see movement even when I'm not here. But something I'm going to do, just because I'm not too worried, is I'm actually going to add it. So things move with the breathing regimen. Just for a little extra shake influence. Get a bit more out of the movement that she sits on. There we go. That's funny. Something great, I just realized. There are no parameters on the horns. I can fix them. Without worry, I can actually fix her horns so they look more correct. That makes me a little more happy. So, we're gonna do one more save, and this is how you want to export. Hit File, and hit Export for Runtime. Oh wait, I forgot a crucial step. The Atlas. Name this. I'm gonna name it Trash. Yeah, okay. So this is something very important, and you always want to do this. I almost forgot to, and it wouldn't have let me export it if I did. But what we're gonna do is, this is all of the emoticons, it's gonna go there. The horns, hair, and head, mouth, we won't touch, but we will grab the overlayers of the mouth, and the head, the ears, and all of the arm pieces. All of this gets dropped in, and you can see how big my natural canvas is compared to what we're given. This is why a lot of my models end up looking fuzzy, because I tend to draw on canvases larger than you would think. I like big stuff. But I never worry about the back hair, since it's in the back and you're not paying attention to it. The body here, I want to keep relatively large because I want this to stay in pretty high quality. So we'll just shimmy it as close to the wall as I can get without clipping these little blue borders over it. The back hair, since it's a solid blob, can shrink down as small as I like it. The main arms can be shrunken down and tossed simply probably in this corner. Just to get them out of the way. And they actually, if I do this right, should line up pretty well with each other. Perfect. So the only major rule when doing this part is do not let anything overlap, because it will show up on the model. That's something I did accidentally to my V3, which is why I suddenly have a V4 and there's no V3, is because I completely destroyed her in seconds. I still feel bad about it. But before we continue with that, if I don't grab the hair, we are going to fit all of these in this spot. So this is really just a massive thing of good luck Jenga. Because if you screw up one singular piece, the whole thing is ruined. So maybe not Jenga. What's the Tetris? That's more like it. So it's a little game to make sure every little piece can fit in this small space you're given. Especially on the free version, you're given a smaller amount of space for the atlas. You are given a much, much smaller space. But we made it. It's doable. Maybe annoying, but it's doable. What we're actually gonna do is take this, put it down as far as I can get it there. Because this is a spot I'm saving for the eye bit, but we gotta get the rest of the arms in here. So what we need is the face, which can be shrunken down. And then these bits, there are 3 of these. I would suggest do not actually make these in your art program. Duplicate these in actual Live2D, because if you can see, if I can dig it out, I'll actually move all the arms in their own little bundle down here. I only have the 2 shoulder pieces, which I've already put out. That's because I duplicated them in Live2D, so they count as a one art mesh, while all these bits don't. They all count as their own individual meshes. Which, yes, I could go in and go make it that they're all copies and they're all one mesh, but I could not be bothered. So we're gonna do the lazy way. This piece can be really small. You want to be optimal with your space, unlike what I am doing right now, which is being very unoptimal. I'm just trying to cram things in place at the moment so I can figure out where everything else can go after. Shouldn't do it this way. Normally I end up doing the smallest pieces first, which backfires in the end because smallest piece, now where do you put the bigger ones? So taking the bigger pieces and what's supposed to have the most detail is good to start with. It can take some getting used to build up these little atlas maps, and it's smart to practice it in your, like, whatever you draw in, to just take apart your character in this way and just lay them out. See what fits where, how it fits, why it fits, just stuff like that, so you can figure out proportioning and everything of that. Which is a great help in the end, and it's something I actually did at the beginning before I even started doing these actual heavy maps for the finished models. All of these arms need to shrink and fit right here. And I still have all the eye bits, all the mouth, and all the earrings. So this isn't very easy. But it can be. If you're good at this, congrats to you, keep it up. I'm just not good at it, because I do it in a stupid way, just to spite myself. But that's me. Gotta do things dumb. It's a trash model anyways. If there's any errors, I'm not too worried. Okay, so we're gonna go to the top, all the way back to the bottom, hit shift and click. And this is the rest of everything I need to put down. So, earring fits perfectly right there. This earring fits right there. This earring will fit here. Now it's just, oh, where can I put it? Because these are all the littler bits. That was a word. I swear that's a word. Anyways, these are the smaller bits that can just be tossed about and placed haphazardly because they're small. Perfect. Give me the smile. That can fit right there. The first blush can go there. The second blush, I'll slightly shrink and it can go here. And here's all of the bits of the eyes, which are gonna fit in here. These itty bitty pieces can be just tossed wherever because they're that small, it's not as important. They're so itty bitty, I can just toss them wherever I want. So small. That one can stay there. And then here's the rest of the eye bits. So we want the larger eyes to get majority of this space we have. Which gives us the understanding of what space we have left once these are in. Which fit very oddly. This eye should fit right here if I scoot this down. This eye can fit in the space over here. And now we have the eyebrows, which I believe if I flip this one, should sit just fine here. Yep. And the last piece of this very, very screwed up puzzle will fit. I don't want both, I just want the eyebrow. No, I just want the eyebrow. Right. Should trade these things places. It fits right there. So that is everything on a massive map. It can be horrifying, but so we're gonna hit OK. It's gonna render all of those layers. Perfect. And we're gonna save again. Once you make your atlas, always save. It can get deleted so easily, but here's the export. I don't change anything. If you would want to, I will actually check. Do I have any hidden parts? No. So we'll export for runtime. We'll hit OK, and we're gonna go into the other folder we made. inside of where the editing model is and the art is. We're gonna put this in the finished one, which is why I tend to mark it finished, whatever. And then you guys actually get to see Live2D. So this is what you should see. And then here is your atlas or texture, and then you have all of this. We are going to say this one more time as we close it, and we're gonna throw up Live2D and disappear all of my current things. So what we want to do is hit import your own model and open this file. This is why we want to keep this open, because now we can just copy this and paste it in here, and then give it a moment. It's always good if you have to wait on it, so you'll see my model move, but always just click and it should work, and it should throw the model right on in. And this is an error I seem to get a lot. So it says, cannot load model, please confirm it was exported correctly. I don't know what causes this error. It is something I actually do not know why it does. So we are going to open up this folder again. We're going to take a gander on why this doesn't want to work. So to show, just as an idea, the current model I am using is this one. As you can see, there's all of this stuff, and there is the very unoptimized atlas for this one, which does not look very good. I know that. Don't have to remind me. But you have all of this, which you have the physics, the model, the working program of runtime, and these are all of my things you set up in the actual program. So you can see there's physics and the run model. So I don't know why it doesn't want to work. It may be picky about the name, because sometimes it will be picky about the name or stuff like that, which is why the model I'm using right now is named Test 1.